Good morning, Kasturians, and welcome to video 4 of chapter 1 of history, the rise of nationalism in Europe. In this video, we will see the age of revolutions, that is the period from 1830 to 1848, and the romantic imagination and the national flag. Let's start. The age of revolutions, it starts from 1830 July. Actually, the conservative regimes which were established after the Treaty of Vienna of 1815, they tried to consolidate their power. At the same time, when they were trying to consolidate their power, the revolutionaries, they started associating the idea of nationalism as well as liberalism with their revolution. So in many regions the revolutions took place, and the first revolution that stormed France and that ultimately was much talked about in Europe was the revolution in France in July 1830. The Bourbon kings, which were restored after the Vienna Treaty, they were overthrown by liberal revolutionaries, and a constitutional monarchy was set up as Louis Philippe as the head. Also, the July Revolution resulted in Belgium breaking away from Netherlands. It was at this time that Duke Metternich he passed a statement, that is, when France sneezes, the rest of the Europe catches cold. Why? Because whatever nationalist feelings or whatever revolutions they've started, they all started in Europe after they were sparked off in France. That's why Duke Metternich passed this statement, and the conservative regime, which was re-established under the leadership of Duke Metternich, it was overthrown by the liberal nationalists. That's why he passed this statement. Ultimately, in the year 1832, the Treaty of Constantinople, it gave independence, it recognized Greece as an independent nation. How it happened? Since 1821, the nationalist feelings, they were growing up in Greece, and Greece was an part of a Muslim empire, that is the Ottoman Empire, since 15th century. The Greek nationalists, they wanted that Greek should be liberated from this Muslim rule, and for this they carried out the revolution, and they got support from the Greeks who were living in exile and other people living in Europe who were having sympathetic feeling for the Greeks. So ultimately in 1832, after the Treaty of Constantinople, Greek was recognized as an independent nation. All these three revolutions, the first revolution in France in July 1830, then Brussels, revolution in Brussels, which resulted in Belgium breaking away from Netherlands, and the independence of Greece. All these three, they were well supported by culture. It was the culture which emerged as the common reason that unified the people, and due to this, a new philosophical order, that is known as Romanticism, it emerged. And this Romanticism is all about spreading culture or promoting the culture through folk songs, through stories, plays, and ballets. So let's see what does this romantic imagination stands for. Culture was an important tool, or you can say it played an important role to create the idea of nation. In culture, art, poetry, stories, music, especially the national songs, they were composed and sung by the revolutionaries. All these created a feeling of nationalism among the revolutionaries, and this romanticism became an important tool. Romantic artists and poets, they criticized the glorification of reason and science, and they were always in favor, and they glorified their culture, that is tradition. The romanticism and their philosophers, they were against the idea of reason, that is logical reasoning and science, and they promoted emotions, intuition, and mystical feelings to create a sense of shared collective heritage. And on the basis of this collective heritage, the people can share a common cultural past, and it will become the basis of nationalism or feeling of nationalism among the people. Now, among the romantics, that is romantic philosophers, German philosopher Johann Gottfried Herder, he claimed that true German culture was discovered among the common people, that is Das Volk, through folk songs, folk poetry, and folk dances, and the true spirit of the nation can be popularized by these methods. For this, collecting and recording the different forms of folk culture in vernacular language, and also the local folk lore or folk stories, if they were collected, they will help the people to come together, as it will be easy to spread these ideas among the educated as well as the illiterate people, because most of the audiences or most of the people in the European countries, they were illiterate, mostly illiterate, as they were farm laborers and artisans who were involved in doing meager jobs. That's why these romantic philosophers, they were always in favor of collecting the cultural forms, various cultural forms in vernacular language, so that they can be easily understood by the common people, whether they were educated or uneducated. This language, the vernacular language, it played an important role to develop the nationalist sentiments, and especially in Poland, in Prussia, in Austria, these countries, they were having most of the illiterate population, and these ideas, when they were spread in the vernacular language or the locally made dialect, these ideas, they spread among the people, and they started speaking against the autocratic or absolutist regimes. And the language, it became an important it played an important role basically in development of the nationalist sentiment. And the incidents that took place in Poland, when Russia conquered Poland and it imposed forcefully the Russian language and abolished the Polish language. So this abolition of Polish language was seen as a threat to the culture, and the people in Poland, they started making secret societies, and they started making a more fierce revolution against the Russian autocratic regime. Now we will see hunger, hardship, and popular revolt. In this, we will see the revolt of the people in 1848 in the city of Paris. Actually, the population increased, but the increase in the food production was not kept in pace with the increase in population. So therefore, there was a shortage of supply, food supply, which resulted in the increase in the prices. And added to this, whenever in a particular year a bad harvest was there, so the people, they were left with no option, and starvation started prevailing. In the year 1848, such a situation was there again. Food shortages were there, and unemployment was also prevailing. It resulted in the it broke away the patience of the people, and the people, they came out on the roads of Paris. They erected the barricades, and this mobilized mob, it created a fear, and Louis Philippe, he was forced to flee. After Louis Philippe he fled, the National Assembly, it created themselves and called themselves as a republic, and the right to vote, that is suffrage, universal suffrage, was granted to all the adult males who were above 21 years of age, and the right to work was also granted. To remove the problem of unemployment, national workshops were set up. Also, at the same time, in the countryside or in rural Russia, especially in the province of Silesia, the weavers, they also led a revolt against the contractors who were supplying raw materials and giving them orders for finished textiles. But the payments for these textiles which were made by the weavers, they were reduced. So in these villages, the workers, they suffered, and the misery of the workers was extreme. So on 4th of June at 2 p.m., the crowd of weavers, they emerged from their homes and they started marching towards the pairs, in pair towards the mansion of the contractor. And why they marched? They were actually demanding higher wages. But the armed men of the contractors, they beated them severely, and alternately a group of the weavers, they entered into the house. They smashed the window panes, furnitures, whatever item went in their way, they all demolished that. And one more group of the same weavers, they entered into the storehouse or the godowns, and they plundered the supplies of cloth which were to be supplied to the British countries. They torn and smashed it into threads, whatever cloth was there. The contractor tried to save their life and they flee with their families to neighboring villages. However, the village people, they refused to provide shelter to such persons. And after this, somehow these contractors, they managed to get help from the administration, and they returned with the force. And the weavers who looted their houses, they were severely beaten with the British soldiers or the soldiers provided by the king. So this was the revolution and the popular revolt. In the next sections, we will see the revolution of the liberals in 1848. Till then, thank you and have a nice day.